Right?
I got it. Hey, everyone.
Hold on.
I just got to find it. There we go.
We are the tribe from the north. We're brave and we're bold. Defeating our rivals never gets old. Making our way to the Big Sky Conference. Watch out, 'cause here comes the silver and gold. Whoa, whoa. This is Tubbs at the club for the Vandals of Idaho.
Welcome back, Tribe from the North, Brave and Bold, to the official, unofficial podcast of your Idaho Vandals and your Vandal affiliate on the Big Sky Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chris Hammond, and joining me today, we have Alex the Beau Boatman.
Guys.
Also running the show from, straight up and center, Dallas Hammer.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. And then actually, kind of playing producer today, we have the Professor Brian Marceau coming to you from office hours. How the heck are you, Brian?
Well, now that I get to be our worst producer, I am doing great, guys.
Did you hear about West Virginia?
Oh yeah, West Virginia. We lost it.
Well, that's why we're all here, right? I don't. That's what you guys got in the trailer for. Listeners can't see this, watchers can. Chris, Alex, and Dallas, they got together in Moscow in a trailer the Boatmans are renting. Correct, Alex?
No, we own it. They're here every game. Every game.
Oh, I apologize. Hey, let me take that aspersion back. You guys are owners, not renters. But you guys got together to talk West Virginia football, right? That's why you came.
Cheers, beers, and Mountaineers, you know?
Cheers, beers, Mountaineers. Hey, Troy Brown, the saver of Vandal football.
Neil Brown.
Troy Brown. Hey,
close enough.
He coached at Troy. All right, he gets thrown in.
There's your daily Mountaineer talk, folks.
There's our daily Mountaineer talk. So as you can tell, we're here from the Boatman residence, so thank you to the Boatmans for letting us take over their RV, and we told them to stay out, goddammit, and it looks like they're going to. I'm just kidding. But let's get into this. We have no outline or anything. So the game, 42-35. Vandals. Who likes taking knees? I don't like taking knees. Why would you take a knee when you got the lead?
Winners take knees.
That's not fun.
Good teams take knees. Great teams go for it.
Hey, guess what? When you watch the Vandals play football, you're gonna need all 60 minutes. All right. Don't be thinking this is a 35-minute endeavor. This is a 60-minute game. We make sure we use every second of it.
Which leads to this first question for the outline, guys. Do we want to talk about both halves separately? Because I feel like I watched a top in the FCS team for 30 minutes, and I felt like I watched an floundering D2 team that held on in the second half. We want to split it up in two?
I think we probably should.
We could, but then also take a 30,000-foot view.
I've heard this game is a game of two halves.
Taylor two halves, yeah.
It is. For listeners, if you missed it at all, just to keep it close, Idaho in the first half looked like one of the best teams in the Big Sky. Absolutely stomped Portland State.
Top 5 Portland State.
Yeah, top 5 Portland State. We're up. It was 28-7 at halftime, right, Boatman?
Yeah, no, 35-14 at halftime.
35-14. My bad, guys.
It got a little weird there at the end of the first half. And that actually probably changed the whole game.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Just as a quick stat setting first before we comment, guys. We're up 35-14 at halftime. We're averaging 9.7 yards per rush in the first half, 20 yards per reception in the first half. We're beating Portland State by 21 points, and they have more than twice as many first downs in the first half because Idaho was ripping off huge play, having no trouble scoring both through the air and on the ground. So I guess for take it away as the first tap, Chris. Essentially, what the hell is this Idaho team we saw to start with?
We saw a team that knew what they were doing. We saw a 2-quarterback system surprisingly work. I still don't know how that happens. I guess the second half is a better example if it doesn't actually work. You saw guys like Elijah Cummings. He dropped a wide open wheel route. This could have been uglier, right?
We still scored 6 goals.
Exactly. But we were all cylinders, hitting every single play.
Yeah.
Borish, every time he didn't hand off, had yards, and that kind of dissipated in the second half. But that first half, you were going oh, am I gonna have to come on the show and apologize to Paul Petrino? The second half, maybe not. But hey, it's good news. For those of the people that didn't know, Davis Alexander is added to the group of hating Chris Hammond of Big Sky quarterbacks. I got a shut the F up from Davis Alexander for telling his offensive lineman they need to block better for him. I tried to tell him, I'm just looking out for you, bro.
I mean, that might have been the facts.
I'm going to start off with we let Boris throw.
We did.
Hey,
Is that in the first half?
that was in the first half.
Wow.
I mean, we saw Zach Borish to Dalton Cash, which quick shout out to both of those two. So those two are actually roommates, best friends. They lived together for like 4 years.
Ride mopeds together.
Yeah, they do ride mopeds together. They both kind of also had a really interesting journey as Vandal football players. They've played each 4 positions, and to see them both stick it out is fantastic. So I mean, I was happy to see Zach throw a touchdown. That first half, yeah, I think I had said this last week that we actually do have the talent to compete with any team in the Big Sky, and I think we showed that. We showed our talent off, and I guess we'll get to the second half. But I mean, I'm not surprised that it happened, just because I've been a part of games like that multiple times under Petrino. We rarely blow anyone out. That's just the way it happens.
We're just getting conservative.
Yeah, I mean, it just happens. So overall, I think the first half is actually more indicative of who this team is and where they can go this year. So that's what I'm kind of going away with that.
So I don't want to get into too much into talking about the entire aspect of the game. I'll try to focus this on the first half. We only threw 10 passes, maybe 11 in the first half, counting the Borish throw.
7 of 10.
7 of 10. Absolutely just stuck to running the football, and we looked
Damn good at it.
Yeah.
we looked so good at that. That was the
Andre Carter looks back.
Elijah
Yes.
Cummings.
that might have been the best half of football I've seen out of the Vandals in a long time. I can't
Eastern
think of
Washington
2018.
2018
or 19,
2019.
Yeah.
But that was the first time in quite a while that I
Similar
have
score at
thought,
halftime.
oh my goodness, we're going to do something. And ironically, I was actually shouting at the Portland State bench, pass, 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 when Borish went out, because I was thinking that he wasn't going to throw. And of course he throws. So in front of my pastor in-laws, I then shouted, oh shit, because I was not expecting the ball to get thrown in the air. That first half made me, honestly, it makes me sad thinking back on it, because there is so much talent on this team. This team can bully. Portland State did not look good, but
but
they
they're not the B word.
bullied a top 5
Yeah.
Big Sky
Top
program
5.
for the first half. For 29 minutes of the first half?
We joke top 5 Big Sky. We can probably confidently sit here and say they're top 7, 8 Big Sky team.
Portland State, yeah.
Right. They're not the bottom tier of team that we might play this year still. Portland State's not a terrible team.
I think the spread was 4.5.
It was 4.5, so we covered.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Brian, what are your thoughts on this? We've kind of given ours from in the game. You saw it on TV. What did you see?
So first, I got to comment on what Alex said, which is, yeah, Portland State's an okay team. They're probably in that class of Idaho and, hey, Chris, Sac State. They're beating Southern Utah last I saw. But no, they're mid-level.
By
Portland
what,
State's
a point?
touchdown. Last I saw. Portland State's not awful, but Idaho made them look terrible in the first half. We were getting pretty Alexander's getting no time. Our front seven was absolutely making his life miserable. A couple other things to point out too. Therese Trainer, 5 receptions for I think 114 yards. He had some real nice catches. He had the kind of catches that Tallulah Lebu Jones has wet dreams about. Anyway,
All right, cut that one up. That's going on the best of.
Dude. Trainer is absolutely the real deal. He was talked about I think he's probably like a top 4 Big Sky receiver, and he looked great. Elijah Cummings, we talked about, looked great on the ground. Borish, also not just big plays. He looked great running the ball too. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever seen a more complete first half of football out of an Idaho team since we joined the Big Sky. I know Alex referenced the Eastern game. Eastern was a better team that year than Portland State is this year, so that's a fair comparison. But Idaho looked good in every phase in the first half. And I think we all know where we're going to get to. But I know I was walking away thinking, guys, why the hell was I nervous? We just put it all together. This looks like a team that could think about the playoffs.
The end of that first half, though, get a little weird, right? Portland State scoring on an untimed down after a pretty suspect roughing the passer.
Yeah,
2, right? Yeah, I mean, it was a weird drive they had there. If they don't score, I think that game
Completely different.
Second half.
Yeah.
That game's a lot different if they don't score there, Brian. Like what we saw in the second half, kind of going what we're about to talk about. I don't think happens if that last touchdown doesn't happen, right?
Alex, before we transition to the second half, I need you. I know this is killing our order, but I got to be the shitty producer today. I need you to talk about the 2 worst field goals I've ever seen in my life kicked by the Portland State kicker.
I was in that.
That was me. That was all me. He was warming up in front of us. And I kid you not. It was me, Taylor Cash, and this other guy. This is before Davis Alexander yelled at us. And he was just warming up. But he kept sitting all by himself. And so we just started kind of making fun of him. And so every time he would start like kicking in the net, we'd be like, wide right, wide left, and then
the first one was like a 9-yard kick that was short and wide.
Why do you think they started drop punting the kickoffs, bro?
It was like that was one of the worst kicks I've ever seen from a Division I kicker. It's like I've seen some weird things happen, but like it almost seemed like the way he took it after was that he like didn't know what happened. Like normally, like if a guy shanks a bad ball, right, they know like I effed up, right? Like I know what happened. That guy just seemed like he just didn't know. He just was like I'm just lost,
dude. And he was doing so much warming up. Like literally,
I started chirping at him too. I was sitting on the Portland State bench, a section over from Chris, and I started chirping at him. Pretty bad there. After he missed that first one, I was telling him he's a JV guy. He's got to walk home. Things like that. He should turn his shoulder pads in.
By the way, correction. He wasn't good enough to be JV.
Yeah, right. Sorry, that's a C team guy.
To be fair to this guy, doing the research for the Big Damn Preview, I'm pretty sure he's their second kicker, their first kicker.
Okay.
So he is at least a backup kicker.
That's a tough scene then.
But still,
he's not one to jump.
No wonder he was sitting by himself. He actually has no friends on the team.
I mean, it's I was sitting next to Cade Coffee too. Cade was here today, and we were just like, oh my god, like I have like in all my years. Also, we started talking about the second half. I want to talk about like the weirdest special teams play I've ever seen in my entire life. So, but yeah, special teams. For us, I was pretty happy, but their kicker, wow.
97, bro.
Woof. Think about it. He missed 0 for 2 on field goals, right?
Yeah, and almost
we won by 7.
Two PATs were suspects.
Shoot, as we see, missed field goals.
You got me there. Yeah, you got me there.
Missed field goals.
Last time it was us. This time it was them.
Hey, karma.
Like this side of it a little bit better.
Yeah.
And now, okay, we have to talk about the dumpster fire second half. But before we shift there. Anyone else have closing points and want to talk about the first half? And listeners, we're dividing it up because if you missed the game, it was radically different. So any closing first half points, dudes?
Like I said, like I've seen a Petrino team multiple times come into a game and then we're up by so much, right? Mm-hmm. And we get in the second half and it's just like things stall out. Where I think that doesn't necessarily show. The second half doesn't show our team. More I think the first half does. Like I'm fairly confident the team we saw in the first half is actually who we are, especially if we played UC Davis. Like I'm pretty confident on talent on this team, the level of talent on this team, and what we've seen around the Big Sky today. We can win some games, guys. Like this is going to come down to coaching decisions and just how the ball bounces a couple times. But we have the talent to just go kick anyone's ass in the Big Sky, minus maybe Eastern Montana in terms of kicking ass. I think we can compete. Be at the top team in that second tier we talk about.
Hey, did you guys know when we don't have a special teams error, we're undefeated? Who would have thought it?
Oh, weird, right? Special teams, I'm telling you.
No block kicks, we won the game.
So Brian, let's lead this into the second half. What did you see on TV? Because I think the three of us can talk very well about the dead environment of the Kibbe Dome for much of that second half. But what did it look like on TV?
I'll give you guys a couple stats. I mean, what it felt like was Portland State had the ball essentially the entire. I felt like it had maybe the entire third quarter, except Idaho touched it, but it absolutely didn't feel like it. And the stats bear it out. Idaho in the third quarter, Boatman. I don't think I messaged you. Did you see how many yards we had in the third quarter total?
Saw at one point in the fourth quarter -2. So I saw that in the chat.
We finished the third with -2 yards. We didn't clip positive yards.
We really Boise Stated.
Solid. We almost cooped it.
We almost.
It was their home.
The guy that was sitting next to me was literally going, "Please don't cook it. Please don't cook it." Like, hey, 8 miles. Send that way.
Yeah, WSU won. Anyway, third quarter.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So just to be real quick, guys. Third quarter, Portland State. That's when they start making their run. 7 first downs for Portland State, 1 first down for Idaho in the third quarter. Portland State also was starting to march just about every time down the field. Another reference point in the first half, like I said, Idaho was 10 yards a rush, 20 yards per reception. And in the third quarter, Idaho was -0.6 yards per rush and 1 yard per reception. That was a turnaround. We've talked about this 100 times. Idaho has to have a big lead if we're going to hold on to some of these games. We did eventually. We put a couple touchdowns up in the fourth quarter that did save us, because had we not scored those, we would have lost this game. But it took till about halfway into the fourth quarter for Idaho to start getting positive yards. And I guess what I saw, and then I'll throw it to Chris after this. What I was feeling watching this was disbelief. I was thinking, oh my god, like we talked about this on the show. We have to have a lead, but this is like a dramatic version of this. Of like, we look like world beaters in the first half, and we look like Simon Fraser for like part of the second half. This is not possible. How are we doing this? So that's what was going on in my house. That's what's going on TV, guys. Was complete knowing this was coming, but still disbelief that there could be that big a gap between the first half and second half, Chris.
Yeah. Second half, I think we just saw like classic. The whole team switched into ultra conservative. We're just going to win this game and milk the clock mode. I mean, in the first half, we were doing a lot of this regardless, but in the second half, we started giving like 12, 15-yard cushions, it felt like, on some of those wide receivers. And that's why you just kept seeing those quick out routes get a hit by Davis Alexander, because all I knew is like by the time our guys realized he's only running 5 and out, they're 10 yards back. Like, we let Portland State move the ball down the field at will in the second half. Or like you said, and then Idaho just struggled to come out of the locker room and move the ball. Because it's okay if you let them do that, but then you take 6 minutes running the ball and doing your own set of drives, even if it leads to a field goal or punt. But we just 3 and out, or 5 plays and kick it back. And yeah, Portland State just figured out that our defense was going to play not to lose. And I guess we didn't, but I think most coaches would tell you that's a odd strategy to employ, is coaching not to lose.
Yeah, hey Alex, just to set you up so you guys know, third quarter Idaho threw 1 pass. Fourth quarter we did throw 6, but that's how for listeners. That's how if you missed the game, that's how conservative it was. Like, this is not an exaggeration. We threw a single pass in the third quarter, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't read, I think, too much into what happened in the second half, just because like I said, I've been a part of this multiple times, guys. Like, I've been on the road at New Mexico State and South Alabama back-to-back weeks in 2015. I've seen this happen versus App State in the Dome. This has happened to me. We've been in Western Michigan. This has happened, right? Like, I don't think it tells you too much about your team. I just think it tells you that, like, we kicked their ass so much in the first half that it almost becomes like such a sense of relief for your guys at halftime, right? Because like after the brutal game last week where you almost won, it's probably a tough week of practice. Like, I probably know exactly how practice was. It was a tough week. So then when you go out there and execute what you've been practicing for and get yelled at for, it's like a sense of relief. It's like a weight off your shoulders. So then all of a sudden you feel like you did it, right?
Yeah.
And so halftimes have notoriously been bad for Idaho. It has never been our friend. We will do better in games we're closer. And just because, like, you feel like you have to always keep going, right? When you're kicking their ass that bad, you're like, all right, like, we've done it. Like, they're not good. We are. And so it's just a mentality set. And you can blame coaches. You can blame players. I mean, it's tough to explain. Like, it's a human psyche. And I think it has to go more down with, like, human psyche than it does, like, talent or coaching. Running the ball. I can see why we kept running the ball, because we were running the ball down their throats. We only threw it. It's not like throwing the ball 1 time in the third quarter is that surprising. We only threw the ball 10 times in the first half, right? Like, I don't think it's that surprising. We were running like 9 yards a rush. So stay to your strengths. Don't less chance to fumble and throw a pick, right? Like, I get why he did it. It just finally took a while for us to finally recover from it. By the time they were sidelined in the second half, and it was just like, oh crap! Like, I was like, oh crap! Like, I was with Ed Hall. We're just like, is this really happening again? We're like, this cannot happen. We were talking about leaving early to come out of the trailer and start drinking. Like, that's what we were talking about.
Not $9 for 12-ounce night. So ran out of 16-ounce.
And so, oh boy, and then punted a few times there in the fourth quarter, right before they scored. We hear Beaudry on the headset. We were standing right there. He goes, "It's like, let's just run the ball. Like we're gonna come out and run the ball." And I think the thing was when we started running the ball with Borish a lot, it was, even though he threw once, to keep him honest, they just started loading the box.
Dude, the safety was
right. They were at one high.
Yeah.
They were playing one high safety and actually doing the box, just crashing, so that there's a read guy on Borish. There was another dude flying off the edge to make a play.
They were like, fool us once, you're gonna have to do it twice for us.
They started running the ball with Beaudry, and it started working, right? Because they had
exactly.
They
Beaudry had that big thump
and then he had
run.
that
That was sick.
So I think that means we just spent 20 minutes leading to hashtag let Borish throw. That's the entire story of this game, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to.
Or hashtag let Beaudry run.
Yeah.
Right?
Or, yeah.
Because
turns out we've been doing it wrong. Borish should throw and Beaudry should run.
Right.
Absolutely.
Chris has to acknowledge the headlines.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that the only reaction?
Hey, I know a team that just blew a 28-point lead, so let's wait until the fourth quarter. Huh? Games ended triple zeros.
But I mean, like, I think once we started getting back out there with more set offense, right, where we might run play action with Beaudry, and we're going to run a few times. Roshan Johnson took the lead in the third and fourth quarter as our lead running back because Andre Carter got hurt. He was in street clothes in the second half. Elijah Cummings was dealing with something. I think we barely saw him in the second half.
Dude, he tries to run
took a
people
pretty good
over.
shot.
But I mean, like,
Yeah.
what
At
a
the beginning of the
stable!
second
Like,
half.
what a stable of backs! Like, oh no,
Oh, we're down to Nick Romano and Roshan Johnson.
who carried us all through last season? Darn.
Weird.
Right? So once we started getting to that, I think it opened up some things more. And then I'll just finish with Therese Trainer is a dude. I was right there when he caught that ball, just so hyped. That was an insane catch by him before leading to that touchdown. And that was just a hell of that guy's a dude. He's a man. He's amazing. And then I guess Patrick made the right call in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter. That's the craziest thing. I had just messaged the entire team and said, holy shit, Paul made the correct analytical call. What is going on?
Wait, hold up, Dallas. Now, I know you're going to get there, Dallas, but please, so we don't pat him on the back too much. He made the right call after one of the dumbest calls any of us have ever seen in football, right?
Which call was that?
Not
Maybe.
maybe.
Well, that was before. That was before.
Oh, my bad. I apologize.
Going for it on fourth and
Going
five.
for it on fourth. It was fourth and 7
On the 30.
at the 30, and I'm sitting there, right? I'm on the sideline. I'm talking to
of
Kate.
course we kick it last
I'm
week.
talking to Kate. I'm like, man, I punt the ball here. I'm not kicking a field goal. I'm not because
especially after last
because
week.
also if you miss it, right? Even if they don't block it, they get the ball at the 37.
Yep.
I'm like, worst case scenario, punt, ball at the 20, right?
Exactly.
And then I was like, second thing, he should go for it. And then why not give the ball to your baddest dude on the field? The baddest dude on the field, Logan Kendall.
Okay.
Love it.
My bad. I apologize for filibustering Dallas, but we're going to mix in great decision, fall back on the dumbest decision we've ever seen in Dallas.
That's exactly. I mean, that was the thing. I had just messaged you guys. I know, Chris, your phone was dead. Boat, you were obviously on the sideline having more fun. I didn't know how to handle it. Paul made the right call.
You're right.
Fourth down, you go for it. You win that game because what do you do from there? You kneel it out and you win.
Don't you just love how we're up 7 and we go for it, but then when we're down 7, we try to kick a field goal.
So, for anybody that's for some reason listening to this and didn't watch the game, Paul goes for it on fourth and 7.
Yeah,
gives it to Kendall.
The 30.
We get the first down. It looks like
Runs over half their teams.
great. We're down in inside the 10.
And we have false start or something. Back to the 15.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so things look great. Like, okay, they ended up having to burn a timeout because of
They left their timeouts.
they had no timeouts with about 30 seconds to go. So what do? We give
the
it to,
touchdown,
We
baby.
give it to Boris and try to score the touchdown. When we could have easily kneeled the ball out, completely just ended it
That's
right
not
there.
fun.
That's not fun, though.
What? it feels like we can't go a game without talking about a baffling decision by Paul Petrino, but that was maybe the worst one. Okay, that was the worst one
That's a lot.
I've ever seen. There's been a bunch, but to me that was
I mean,
inexcusable.
I will say he probably wanted to kneel it, right? But I will say, like, all the guys on the field, I was right there, 10 yards from the huddle. We're saying, let's effing score. Like I think they really wanted to score, right? After the way that second half went, they were like, let's go score. So I mean, sometimes like that's why you have a head coach. You don't listen to your players who are emotional, right? But I also feel like worst case scenario, you think about it. Okay, fumble, they get the ball, the 3, they have,
We almost saw worst case scenario.
Yes.
I mean,
A Hail Mary opportunity. with
yeah,
0
but I mean, like,
seconds left.
that's still like, I mean, it's Hail Mary, we're talking like 2% chance, right?
the
Like,
ball's in the wrong end zone.
yeah,
Changes the game.
it's not great, but I get why he did it. All your guys are asking for it. You feel like you had a crappy second half. If you score a touchdown there, you feel better about yourself.
The good news is that field goal kicker probably would have missed the PAT.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's actually how that game deserved to end.
We're filibustering right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Supreme Court adjudication here. Paul does not have an over 500 record. He does not have the ability to not take wins right when he can grab them. It was a dumb call to not take a knee. It was a dumb call to listen to people who are not him. By the way, it's his paycheck, not their paycheck. That and of course, Portland State had for them a pretty damn effective drive. They got a shot, like they had a Hail Mary shot, but it made it to the end zone. It was a low probability play, kind of like Montana Eastern last week. But Paul making a dumb decision gave Portland State a chance to win the game, and he didn't have to give them a chance to have the ball back. So
I had fun.
that's the adjudication there.
Can we talk about that drop kick false start on the kicker.
I want to talk about
illegal kick and kick out of bounds that gave us the ball on the 40. I've never seen that in my life.
You have special teams expert here.
So how does all that stuff compound?
Okay, so it all started on the play before when they kicked their PAT. Once they kicked their PAT, they got a
unsportsmanlike
conduct. Okay, so normally in NCAA and NFL, you kick off from the 35. Idaho chose to enforce that on the kickoff, moving them back to the 20 to kick off. Okay. Not everyone realizes this, but when you kick off, you actually have the chance to either punt out of hand or kick off a tee. You can choose any time to actually punt out of hand. No one does, usually.
Because you can't get as much distance.
Right, but it's more hang time. Yeah. So Portland State says, we're going to punt out of hand. Punts the ball, goes out of bounds. Ball to 35, right?
But he also
well, what I realized is when I was standing right there, and I look, I'm like, they kicked from the 25. It was supposed to be a 15-yard penalty from the 35. They're supposed to kick from the 20. They kicked 5 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. So they had an illegal kick and a false start because they were offsides. It was the weirdest I've ever seen. They were past the line of scrimmage, right?
Yeah, because originally they had us like on our 45.
They can't be past the line of scrimmage when the ball's kicked.
Yeah.
They were all past that. Plus the kicker kicked the ball where he shouldn't kick from, so there's a illegal kick. So it compounded. We get the ball to 35 from the illegal kick out of bounds, plus the 15-yard penalty, plus the 5 yards for outside. And I've never seen that in my life.
I remember they were like
the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
They were setting up on like our 45, and then like they go, oh, and the ball will be on the 50, and then they're backing everybody up, and then they put it on the other 45.
I'm not
and
sure,
I'm like,
but
wait, how we literally getting the ball in enemy territory?
They kicked off because they chose to kick with their punter and not their kickoff guy. I don't think you realize what yard line he was at. He kicked off from the 25 when he should have kicked off from the 20. And honestly, maybe might have cost him the game. Because we got the ball.
That's how we got the touchdown.
Right? Yeah. Was it how we got? No, we just iced the game after that.
That was
the fumble at the end. But I mean, we took 4 minutes off the clock to go 45 yards. I mean, it's less plays we have to run to get down to the goal line, right? So I mean, like, it was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, and I love weird special team stuff. That's when football gets fun.
And if that was Idaho, we would be screaming about Paul. So we're all fine saying like, "Hey, Bruce Barnum, way to cost team a game there."
I did ask some Portland State fans. I was like, "Hey,
there's Portland State fans."
There was a couple. I was like,
"Do you sure it was plural?
Does Barnum pick up your tab on the road too?" They're like, "No, unfortunately not." It's like,
but yeah, I mean, that's special teams coordinator getting his head chopped off on that after that, right? That's a tough scene.
Compounding interest.
So we've talked about like every major piece of this game. I want to kind of get an idea of where everybody's head is because obviously, first half of the game was incredible. Second half, not so much. Ended on the most baffling decision most of us have ever seen. I think we can all agree that Portland State didn't try to win this game. Their Barney ball is not working. There were a lot of really bad decisions across many points of that. Let's start with I guess producer Brian, and then we'll go around the table. I guess Brian, what is your feeling of this game now that it's all said and done?
Look, Paul's time here has been chaos in a lot of ways, and we got to see that. Of first half, we look great. Second half, I know Boatman's take here is he's okay saying, hey, like first half team's more who we are. I'm fine saying both halves are who we are. We are the most talented mid-tier team we have the biggest range between potential performance of we can look great and God, we can look awful. As good as our defense looked in the first half, Portland State walked over us in the second half. They had a final stat line, guys, was pretty dang close to Eastern Washington. Portland State finishes with 588 yards, 34 first downs to our 17. We still won the game because we looked great, but I know I left this game thinking I know what it looks like when everything comes together, and now I also know what it looks like when a few of our weaknesses can be exacerbated, like our secondary. I think the jury's in. Our secondary, we might be better than last year, but we're not good. I'm not going to call our secondary good.
We're banged up too. We're missing some guys who have played some significant time in secondary. But yeah, I mean, I think we're better than last year. We're not great, but we're serviceable.
No, I mean, we made Davis Alexander look terrible in the first half, and we made him
really
look
tough.
Oh, jeez, thanks, Chris. God. Well, yeah, we can go long on Davis Alexander being overrated if we want to, but we made him look great in the second half. So what was my 1,000-yard take is this is why Idaho's not going to make the jump above that like kind of mid-tier playoff spoiler is we're not stable enough. We're going to get out coached in the second half. Mercifully, this was not Eastern that we pulled ahead against early, or this was not Montana who we pulled ahead against early and then had this kind of second half. We played the kind of team we need to for this to stay a win. But at least we're having competitive games, guys. I'm fine writing off Paul at this point and just accepting we're going to get out coached and have it be annoying. But so I'm frustrated about the second half. But there's some really good stuff we saw too. So I don't know. I'm fine saying Idaho's firmly in the mid tier right now.
I saw what Tubbs from the boat. That's hilarious. Yeah, my 1,000-mile view of the game. It doesn't really change much opinion because, like you said, like first half, cool. I was like, oh, maybe we are wrong. Maybe we might be a Montana State Eastern, one of them. Still think we might, but like we're exactly where I thought we were. I think we all predicted this game to be somewhat close. I think I had it as a 1 point, so I was wrong, but. I thought this game was going to be something ugly like this. I didn't expect ugly being like, I thought we'd have just terrible offense and slug out a barely 1 point win, 21-20, I think. But, 42-35, not kneeling it on the 3-yard line with no timeouts left. Electric. The team is exactly where I thought they were. We have probably some of the top 5 talent, if not top 3 talent in the Big Sky. It's putting it together, and if we do that, this team should be a playoff team. But I think the way it's ran, we're not.
And also, I think our schedule's set up.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Prohibit that to happen, right? Oh, Southern Utah coming back, 17-7, Chris.
Boom, triple zeros.
Fear the whack.
Fear the whack. The whack birds.
Yeah, I think this is it. Like after my take is I do think we actually have this is the most talented team I think I've seen Idaho have top to bottom since we've been back in the Big Sky, right? I don't think we're bad anywhere, right? Like even Beaudry had a decent game today.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that's back-to-back good games.
I'm liking Beaudry.
That's back-to-back good games. I think he knows his role. He's doing it really, really well. I saw CJ on the sideline this sling today. But I think this is just showing you kind of exactly. I think we're a really talented team. Our talent is going to prove that we're better than teams like Southern Utah, NAU, hopefully Idaho State. Not sure what happened there today. We'll talk about that maybe Tuesday. Who knows? But like I think our talent will outshine and kind of damper down some weird stuff that happens sometimes. I just think we're better than teams, and we're also going to play teams that are better than us. But again, yeah, I do agree with Chris. I think we might grab a game that we probably some people say we shouldn't. I don't know what this Montana team's going to be. I'm not saying Cam Humphrey's great, but they didn't look great versus Dixie State today, which we all know Portland State's massively better than Dixie Take. Like, we handle Portland State much more longer than Montana handled Dixie State, right? So, yeah, I think this Idaho team, we're on the right track. That's a good way to see I'm happy to see the guys bounce back after a really tough game on the road at the time a top 10 team and go out and play fiery football. Now let's see what happens the next 2 weeks because, oh boy, this is when it gets fun.
Yep. I mean, I'm going to go 4 for 4 here with saying that the talent on this team is incredible. There are some weak spots. The offensive line obviously has a little bit of growth they could make. The secondary, even I think at full health, is still not phenomenal. There's definitely area for improvement. But this team has the talent to compete with absolutely anybody. And I know that I'm the negative guy and I'm the broken record that's always talking about the coaching, but it does feel like this is a team that it's so wide in what we could be. There are days that we could beat Montana here, get the Little Brown Stein back, and feel great about ourselves. Then we could lose to NAU the next week.
Right.
And there's such a wide range of outcomes there that it's tough to feel great about it, but I mean, the talent on this team is absolutely where it needs to be. And that's the positive takeaway from this is the kids on this team are good.
Yeah.
Really quick, I can tell you guys what happened. Idaho State, UC Davis. UC Davis threw 3 picks. Idaho State threw 0. Hunter Rodriguez looked bad against Idaho State. Idaho State just outplayed Davis. That was it.
Post-concussion, Rodriguez, maybe a little. Maybe they should have rolled with a Tom.
Hashtag let Tompkins throw.
Yeah,
they let Tompkins throw.
If they let Tompkins play that. Oh.
Hashtag don't let him throw.
Hey, Brian, why don't you quit ruining our takes, okay?
Just let us make blind takes off of
Let us look uneducated. Okay?
Oh, no, dude, I lied. Hastings threw pick, not Tompkins.
Oh,
no.
Let Tompkins throw.
If they play Tompkins, maybe they just win that game.
So there
hey,
you go.
Dan Hawkins, we fixed it.
Dan Hawkins family. Hey, yellow pants came in.
I'd
takes on the jersey.
I had heard they were coming in for a while.
Yeah, for homecoming.
We might see we might see a surprise on the helmet next home game.
I didn't hear about that. I literally thought Joe was on the helmet, and then found out it was
I
just the
heard
old
he
eye.
could be for this game. We'll see in the future, but
Paul hates cartoons.
he does hate cartoons. But yeah, some people are dogging gold pants. I'm like, shit, I thought they looked good. I mean, like,
The yellow doesn't quite match the helmet.
we're gonna start calling it gold. We gotta start calling it gold. Like, we just have to own it as
Pride gold.
It's
It's pride gold.
I mean,
Yellow.
I
It's yellow.
It is yellow.
it's a version of gold. But I mean, yeah, I thought it looked all right.
Starts to gold.
I think it looks better than black pants. The black pants look
Yeah, the black pants look
with those
bad.
white stripes.
Yeah.
I want to see gold, black, white. I think that would look fine. But anyway, I could go weird on it. I think we will probably see gold, white, gold next weekend. An Idaho Classic. That is my guess.
I like it.
Makes sense, right? Eastern on the red. It's gonna pop.
Ooh, yeah, give us those yellow.
It's gonna pop.
Ketchup and mustard. Yum.
Oh yeah.
I did eat a free hot dog today.
All right,
How about
Brian.
that?
I think we're trailing out. Do you have any last takes from the from office hours?
Yeah. Well, actually, one last topic for us to spin around real quick. I want to throw for listeners, since we had some people ask for game stats. I want to run through some game stats really quick and just have you guys react to the game stat, whatever pops for you. Okay.
Stack reacts.
We're going to run through real quick. This is for listeners, specifically listener Jack Schneider saying, hey, what were the final yard stats? Well, guess what? We know how to read. So here they are. First downs, Idaho finishes with 17 first downs, Portland State's 34. Idaho, 236 yards on the ground at 6.1 yards per carry. Portland State, 164 yards rushing, 4.3 yards per carry. Idaho finishes with 208 passing yards on 11 of 16. That would be 10 of 15 for Beaudry, 1 of 1 for Borish. Portland State, 424 pass yards on 30, going on Davis Alexander, going 32 of 49. And
It's like a big Ben style line.
a wild one too. Time of possession, Portland State, 34 minutes to Idaho's 26 minutes. Quick reaction, just starting with Chris, roll through everyone else. You hear those game stats? What do you think?
Surprise time of possession wasn't more lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I said that wide receiver for that, Beau Kelly, 81. I kind of hinted at it. I don't know if it was on here or if it was on the power rankings. Yeah, he's legit. He's probably, out of all those passing yards and receptions, at least half. So, but yeah, we'll give him 15 yards and no support over the top.
He was Beau Kelly, number 2 receiver for Portland State, 7 receptions, 119 yards. I'm going to butcher the number 1 receiver name, Mateo Talimoto, 12 receptions, 196 yards.
Talimoto.
Did anyone watch the Steelers-Browns game in the playoffs last year? No, playoffs last year, right?
Probably. That's
Right?
a while ago.
Remember what happened there? Browns came out, murdered them.
Yes.
Steelers clawed back. Big Ben had thrown for like 500 yards and like out of 60 passes. That was today's game. Like, I mean, we came out, killed them. They ended up we had the big plays at first. Hey, hashtag. I'll talk about West Virginia in a second. I got to see Geno Smith in the flesh next Sunday night. Steelers Seahawks. I'll be there. What a dream. But you know, I mean, the stats to me show Beaudry went 10 of 15. That's hitting his percentage. That's what I want to talk. I talk about that a lot, right? If we want to see this team win games, we need to have Beaudry keep hitting out 65% of his passes. He looked efficient. That's great. Didn't look. I think I saw like one maybe questionable throw. I was like, why do you throw there? We saw some good back shoulders to Trez Trainer. Like, you know, we didn't really challenge a lot over the middle of the field, but he had some great time as receivers on hitches. The ball was out before they broke. I like that. You know, they just had the ball a lot, and they just had to throw. They just had to throw the ball. Like they just had to run and throw in the second half. Like,
Helps to have a tough guy at quarterback.
Our big plays just like outshadowed them. But yeah, the box scores sometimes are funny to look at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you look at those raw yardage numbers, if I had never seen this game and hadn't seen a score, just saw the yardage, I would have thought Idaho got pantsed.
Right.
Like, that's not good. And obviously the context matters of it was 35-7 at one point, and they're just, I love it. Look at that.
I wish you would have played us last week.
Okay. Has anyone checked on Hot Take Nate? Make sure he's okay. I guess the people that are listening to this are going to be so confused. We keep getting updates on scores and stats on the screen for our listeners.
Yeah, listeners, I'm the shittiest
Hunter
producer in the
Rodriguez.
world, so I keep giving him like UC Davis, Southern Utah updates. We just annihilated what Dallas was saying.
I wish
Dallas,
he would've
back
played
to you.
this.
That's fine. I was just essentially saying that the stats look very weird for this game. It does look like Portland State crushed this team, and realistically, it's not empty stats because they obviously crawled back and had a Hail Mary attempt to tie the game or even win it if they went for two, Rob Akey style. But it's almost a game you can't really take anything from the stats because it was just it was such
Yeah,
a
it's
weird,
a weird game.
It's 35-7 at one point. That they're obviously they have to throw themselves back into it.
And they also
That's why you get
gifted us.
40.
They also gifted us the ball at the 45-yard line on the weirdest special teams
Yeah.
kickoff of all time, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to think about it, that alone is like 30, 40 yards of
That's
offense they
insane.
just gave us.
Hey,
It
all
doesn't
the-
show up in the stat line.
All you for listeners that didn't watch the game, all you need to know: wildest special teams game of all time, and never take a knee on the 5 when you're winning.
And hashtag let Boris throw.
Yeah, my takeaway is two things. Is one, part of why our stats were dramatic is actually at the UC Davis game too. In the spring, Idaho was terrible at breaking big plays. We've been pretty good about breaking some big plays this season, which is one of the things Paul told me in media days. Like that actually matters for Idaho to be better this year. Is we need to not just have all of our scoring drives be steady down the field. We have to be a team like Eastern who sometimes can break a big play. A lot of our big plays have been runs, but Therese Traynor broke a pretty long pass. Ditto the pass from. By the way, that was a gorgeous catch. That was a pretty low pass that he
There's
snagged.
a lot of
and
zip
gets
on
gone.
that.
That was a fent. Yeah, that was the play where I was like, "Good God, this guy is good." And he's on our team. This is cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are breaking big plays. So that's a positive thing that is a step Idaho needed to take, and it looks like we're taking it. I'm not writing off Davis Alexander putting 420 yards on us. We've said forever that the secondary was suspect, and yeah, the rhythm of the game gave him more passes, but he didn't. We gave him fits in the first half, getting to him with pressure, and that pressure didn't get there in the second half. But that's Idaho. Right now, we're not steady. Buckle in for the rad guys. We can look as good as any team in the league. We can also look pretty rough. But today it worked out. Today's a good day to be a Vandal.
Yep.
Today's a great day to be a Vandal. Happy Hoco, everybody.
Hey, we won.
Nothing like winning on home cover.
Yeah.
Most
at the end of the day, we
important
won.
thing, the stat line,
We won.
that W.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
That's it.
Cool. Is that it? We good?
I think that's it.
That's it.
Brian, we miss you.
Go Vandals.
Hey,
Go Vandals.
life in the Boatman trailer
Go
tailgate.
Vandals.
Go
Go
get
Vandals.
A trailer that they own, guys.
Vandals.
Do not get it wrong. They own. They do not rent. I apologize for
They-
that.
I'm gonna go have my second Boatman burger of the day. I don't know about you guys.
Review. I forgot. Boatman burgers are worth the hype. They are absolutely amazing. I recommend having them at 9 instead of like noon. My day would have been a lot smoother had I got that in my belly sooner.
Alrighty.
Perfect.
Go Vandals.
Go Vandals.
Vandals.
Go Sac State, just so that I can get to 5-1 this week. Go Vandals. Here's the beer song, dudes.
So raise your glass and have a drink with me. Here's to the Vandals in the crowd. All just out there living the dream. Right up one and only Moscow drink.